Live from 2021. Stay busy with the boy, Armon Sadler. Wow.
That theme song gonna make us a lot of money one day.
One day.
That's a fire theme song for real.
That's gonna make us some money.
Real different on this side. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first 2021 edition of Stay Busy with the Boy, Armon Sadler. I am still Armon Sadler. New year, but not a new me. You feel me? It is vegan chorizo Poppy, multiple miles Monday Poppy, your favorite Uber driver's favorite Uber driver. All that good stuff. I'm feeling real good. It is amazing to be out of 2020 and into a new year. We are optimistic. Our smiles are bright.
Yeah.
The sunlight is hitting. But I'm not here alone. I'm here with some great guys. Of course, got to pass it to the guy himself, Mr. L.A. Covina.
You know what it is. What up? How you doing, everybody? Happy New Year, everyone. First episode of the new year. Stay busy. I'm still executive producing, still co-hosting this amazing podcast with my brother Armon and Kieran. This is exciting. So let's see how we can level up this year, man, and keep it moving. So
man, we're starting this year off with a bang with this guest we got. Now he needs a proper introduction. So when I think of a young person getting to the bag, Chris Omar is someone who immediately comes to mind. He's a recent college graduate, 2019 Doc NYC official selection. Yeah, let's clap it up for that degree. We get degrees on this side. A lot of people talk, you don't need a degree working in music and entertainment, but it's good to have. Prioritize that education. Anywho, his film credits include, but are not limited to, Dreamville. Y'all know who Dreamville is. Cole, JID, all Autumn Legends. Title, this man was walking around with Elliott Wilson, A Boogie, you feel me? HBO, Rock Nation, Atlantic, and many others. Coin the hashtag invest in your visuals, because why wouldn't you invest in your visuals? You're just gonna put a song out but not have a good video. You're just gonna, like, you think you're just talented enough to not have the proper presentation? Come on now. Very important. Invest in your visuals. I'm going to say it again. Hashtag invest in your visuals. Recently released his own film titled Young Kanye, a hilarious depiction of a wild roommate whose creative process very much so mirrors that wild man Yeezy. Man has his own IMDb profile. The words go on and on and on, but check his credits, check his resume, learn him. This is my guy, my brother. We were blessed to have him work on our promo video to launch, constant supporter. And I'm just honestly so in admiration of all the things that he's doing. Despite, like, I'm 25, this man is younger than me, doing the damn thing. So we're very blessed to have him here. Chris Omar, ladies and gentlemen, clap it up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm looking forward to new beginnings, a new year. I mean, I'm glad we're out of 2020. I mean, 2020 was supposed to be an amazing year. And I mean, that was something. It was definitely a traumatic experience for everyone. It was a collective experience. And I mean, I feel like art is going to be telling the story of 2020 for years to come. So I'm looking forward to being part of that.
Yeah. Before we jump into this stuff, do y'all have any New Year's resolutions for this year?
I would love, it's funny. I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to put it in the chat, but I'm so glad that you're mentioning this now. I would start off, I want to just remain consistent. I want to focus on consistency in my own life. I've gotten some new fitness goals I've been working on as well. But most importantly, I want to start journaling every day and start reflecting on just my thoughts and just things like that. So I can look back and see, where I've gone, how I progressed. And so that's kind of the goals for at least, the small resolutions that I can actually do every day. So those are mine.
How about you, Chris?
Independence. That's a big one for me. I mean, taking full independence and, stepping into it, being a college grad. Um, and then, on top of that, some fitness goals and, just trying to stay physically right and mentally there. And, you know what I mean? And just consistency as well. I'm gonna follow up with the same thing. Cause I mean, it's just about keeping that momentum going. It's all about momentum in this game,
That's right.
especially. So let's keep it up.
Consistency might be the title of this episode because that's one of my resolutions as well. I definitely want to be more consistent, take things to the next level. I hit my fitness goals last year, but I'm about to set some crazier ones. Like I'm like 190 something right now. I'm maybe trying to drop to like 175. I have a hard time letting shit go. Like I really be like overthinking a lot of stuff. So I really want to work on that this year. Like just being able to process things and move on. So that's one of my biggest resolutions for this year. But I'm excited to see what all of us do. And yeah, we stay busy out here. Of course, we got to shout out our listeners for tapping in. First episode of 2021. We got to shout out our guy, the man that you cannot see, but you feel him, Kieran, VP of everything. We got to shout out Anchor, our distribution platform. If you do not know, Anchor will distribute your podcast for free to all the streaming platforms you would like to use. And you can get some sponsored ads, regardless of your listenership. And of course, shout out to Zoom, allowing you to see our beautiful, melanated, hydrated faces. So let's get into the chat, man. Drake didn't drop his album New Year's Day. I was a little disappointed. About that. Like literally, like we was watching the ball drop. To have my drink, kiss my girl, and then like I was checking Apple Music and there was no Drake album there. It wasn't even a single or a 2-pack. I was like, all right, dog. Cool, fine. You really missed a golden opportunity, but it's okay. He said January 20.
Hearts, man.
Yeah, man. But he said January 2021, so I'm optimistic that we're going to get the album this month. We did get some really, really unfortunate news the day of New Year's Eve, which is crazy. The late MF Doom, he passed. He actually passed on October 31st, Halloween, but we didn't find out until New Year's Eve. The cause of his death is unknown. But that was something that really, really shook people up. I mean, and this is not to like diminish his personal loss. When you think of everyone we lost in 2020 and the fact that on the last day of 2020, we find this out. And like MF Doom meant a lot to so many people, whether you're just a casual hip hop fan or a true underground hip hop fan or a hip hop historian. He was someone who was a lot of people's GOAT. He's someone who a lot of people spoke extremely highly of. So just a really, really major loss for the culture and hip hop. And again, like to find that out hours before we're shifting into a new year is just absolutely crazy. Did MF Doom mean anything to y'all personally?
Go ahead, Chris.
Personally, I don't think I'm in that generational gap. Like I started listening to hip hop like probably like 2009. So I wasn't really, I knew of MF Doom and I knew how important he was to people, but I never got to tap in with him, unfortunately.
Right.
I'm similar in the sense of like knowing who he was. Obviously, if you know. Because for me, the way I was familiar with him was through like other artists like Flying Lotus, Madlib. These sort of people like is how I heard of MF Doom, and some of my people who are like real hip hop heads obviously really love MF Doom. And so I've heard some of his songs and obviously loved what I heard, but yeah, I never really listened to him like that because I think of just, when he was on like, I think I was too young to be aware. Nobody was showing me that stuff, but the stuff that I have heard, they say he was one of the really real greats when it came to like lyricism and everything. So it's a true loss. He was someone who was really able to maintain that sort of like shadowy figure sort of vibe. And I think he really set the template for mystery in music for like, he walked so a lot of people could run, so The Weeknd could run, so Hurt could run. So a lot of these acts that sort of have this sort of mysticism behind them, and of course there's other acts like Daft Punk and the Gorillaz and other people like that. But I think he's one of the ones for our culture specifically who sort of led in that and really owned it and set the example for others to follow. So rest in peace to MF Doom and his I'm praying peace for his family. This time.
100%. An interesting conversation took place between Will.I.Am and Wyclef. I'll read the quote here. Black Eyed Peas aren't considered a black group. because they have had international success. Nick, I kind of want you to tackle this one first. Like, how did you feel reading that and seeing that?
Man, when I was it was just like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? The fact there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of people who. Here's my thing. I'll preface this. I think that Black people should be in all genres. I think there should be Black people in everything, and we should sort of normalize allowing Black people to be able to do different things that aren't quote unquote traditionally Black or where we've been siloed, right? I was watching a Lenny Kravitz thing the other day, and I'm just like, Lenny Kravitz is one of our few Black rock stars. We need more Black rock stars because other people from other communities need to realize that we do everything. We can do everything. We don't have to just fit into one thing. We're not a monolith. When it comes to the matter of the Black Eyed Peas, now, is Will.I.Am, Taboo, who I've actually met. Will.I.Am is Black, Taboo is Native American, and Applejack is Afro-Filipino, and then Fergie was, I think, was Italian or not. So just as a whole, they're a very diverse world reflecting group, right? And so I think for him to kind of speak at and saying like, well, we weren't considered the top of the we weren't considered, our success wasn't considered Black because we've had international success, to me didn't make any sense. I think it's all about the community that you focus on, the community that you cater to, the sound that you push. They've always pushed a bit larger than life world sound, right? And it's not an all Black group. It's really 2 Black people in the group. And one, if you don't know he's Afro-Filipino, you wouldn't know that. And someone should quote me on that or to fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure Applejack is Afro-Filipino. But the point being, it kind of brought me back to when Drake was talking on the Rap Radar interview, when he felt like, why is my success not looked at as Black success? Which I think is an interesting point if we want to talk about like artists. It's almost like putting Blackness synonymous with like only a certain level, a threshold of success, which I think is so interesting because in other realms and other fields, Blackness, is at the highest level of whatever success is in that field, in that space. So I think him saying that, I think he was misguided in saying that, because I think that their music has always felt like it was Black in nature, but appealed to more people. And that's not necessarily that we don't claim them, but it's not something that I think you should be huffing and puffing that we don't give you your credence or your flowers for being considered a Black group when I think you're not really a Black group. So it's all over the place.
How you feel about it, Chris?
I don't think there's a correlation between international success and like being a Black group. And I like what Nick said. It's weird like that people do like kind of pigeonhole a group because they're seeing that success, like with Drake, or I mean really anyone, like why does it matter? Like yeah, I mean that's just my take on it. I just think it's stupid, and I mean it has a lot of power structures and dynamics at play that come up with that kind of opinion. So
I don't know. Yeah, people want that validation, but it's almost limiting in a way, I feel. So yeah, no, great points there.
Also, you gotta earn it too, though.
Like, you do.
You have to earn sort of, if you want the community to embrace you, you have to embrace the community or do things for the community. Like, you have to do things that have seen like this is a stamp that you are here for the community that you have done, right? And I've always considered them as a pop group, which is not a bad thing because, like I said, we need Black people in all spaces. So I think for Black folks and artists and creators who are not in traditionally quote unquote Black spaces, which really every space started Black and it was just been regurgitated to us in a non-Black presentation, so we think it's not Black, whatever. That's an aside. I think that is very important that if you want the community to embrace you, you need to do things for the community. You know what I'm saying? How many times have you gone and done a show for, a Black initiative? How many times have you partnered with a Black organization that's trying to further our community? Those things are important, whether you make alternative, pop, electronic, things that are quote unquote not traditionally Black. Show us that you are doing something. And it's important also at the same time, we just see Black people doing things outside of Black spaces. But if you want that love, give love, period.
Yeah, it's kind of weird the timing of it too. Like Black Eyed Peas are kind of out of their prime. I don't
out of their prime.
Yeah, like I don't know the last time they put music out. Please feel free to fact check me. But
I remember like 09.
Yeah.
Like, I got a
Pow was
feeling.
the last thing
Boom,
I
boom,
listened.
pow. Yeah.
So it's like, why is this coming up now? I mean, there are a lot of conversations surrounding Blackness, especially with what's been going on this year politically and all that. But I don't know, the timing of it also just seems real strange. But I mean, hey, Black Eyed Peas, you made some great stuff. You guys are forever. You are like, we can't erase you from music history. Like, you've given us such incredible stuff. Oh, they put on a track in April. Wow. Interesting. I ain't here. But shout out to you. You're extremely talented. Like, just I don't know. Nick, what you sipping on, bro?
Man, I'm sipping on some I love this mug. I love black mugs. I'm into that. More in 2021. More black mugs, silverware. I'm drinking some what's the name tea? This is throat coat tea, which is amazing for singers, speakers, all the above. And I've drinking this many times before. I didn't know that they had quotes on the back of the little thing. So I'm gonna read the quote. The quote is, "Are not flowers the stars of the earth?" by Clara Lucas Balfour. Are flowers not stars of the earth? And just to highlight a star of the earth, this is coming out of the Rolling Stone. Bandcamp is my star of the earth for today. Bandcamp did something over the pandemic. I just want to highlight this, is that they had this thing called Bandcamp Fridays that happened the first Friday of each month. And basically what they did, they brought in $40 million for artists during the COVID pandemic. This is by Ethan Millman. Thank you, Ethan. Each Friday, first Friday of the month, they waived their full revenue share on its sales to help artists fend off basically the COVID ails of the industry, not being able to tour, not being able to perform. As people don't know, touring and it's pretty much the most reliable revenue stream. You play a show, you get paid. You play another show, you get paid. It's the most consistent form of revenue. That's why artists go on tour for most of the year. So they were holding these events, since they've held these events, like I said, since March of 2020. They announced that they're going to be continuing it probably well into May of 2021. So this is really, really exciting because, like I said, they've dispersed $40 million to artists and labels. A little bit of breakdown of the numbers, that while 93% of the money that they spent on the artists or labels was for Bandcamp Friday, 82% of the money still reaches them on a purchase or any non-Bandcamp Friday day, according to the company. That was really interesting to me because I was like, well, if they're giving away money, waiving their full revenue for pretty much one day, how are they, staying afloat? Which is, of course, they made it make sense. But I think this is an example for a lot of the smaller music platforms or mid-tier music platforms to say, like, this is doing something about, trying to take your fate into your own hands as much as you can, and helping survive the industry. Because without artists, what art and content do we have to share? Without producers, what art and content do we have to share? Any people on the content side, engineers, artists, videographers, photographers, without them, how can we move forward? Because everything else to me is, really truthfully secondary. So, I mean, it's been really great because over 2.5 million people made Bandcamp purchases on the normal business days, totaling 145 million in music and merchandise sales. So Bandcamp is going to be something that I probably will get invested in 2021, just because I think that this is really important. And, this is, like we said, just talked about in half and half. This is, if you want the community to love you, show love, give love. And this is really important. Apple had also done a $50 million royalty advance fund for independent artists to ensure that the artists got paid as well. Spotify had recently announced a $500,000 donation to the National Independent Venue Association, of course, an advocacy agency for government assistance, subsidizing struggling venues who've been without revenue drivers since March. So this is really important. I think we need more people to follow Bandcamp's lead. So platforms, do whatever you can. It doesn't have to be something that's waiving your full revenue, but help a venue out, help an artist, do things like that. It's really going to help us make sure that we can somewhat try to smoothly transition out of this pandemic when it does lift, and try to find some sort of normalcy, even though it probably won't be the same, but we can try to mitigate as much as we can during it. So that's my half and half. Just wanted to highlight Bandcamp because they are my star of the earth.
Anywho, let's get into our new employee of the month. This is my guy, extremely talented writer, Nicolas-Tyrell Scott. Clap it up for Nicholas.
Yes, sir.
You got to get his name right. It's not just Nicholas-Tyrell. Called Nicolas-Tyrell. He's a music and culture journalist, speaker, and writer. Bylines include Hype Beast, NME, Paper Magazine, OK Player, Audio Mac, etc. My boy out in the UK, he's got an extremely great podcast. One of my favorite music podcasts, aside from us, it is called Don't Alert the Stands, with a marked focus on stan culture. They be talking about Drake, they be kind of getting to me, but it's cool. It's responsible discussions, which we love on Stay Busy. Nicolas-Tyrell had an amazing year. Most notably, his first ever cover story for Paper Magazine was on Flo Milli. My man talked to Flo Milli. That's incredible. So shout out to him. We'll be highlighting him all month. Y'all might be hearing from him soon. I'm not going to say much on that, but we stay bringing in the fire employees of the month. So one more time, shout out to Nicolas-Tyrell Scott.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into the fun. Slide deck time. Frank, take us away. And okay, as you know, we got our guest, so we're going to let him play his track first. What did you bring for us, good sir?
I brought Quicksand by Murray, straight out of Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
He's popping now. Like I'm starting to see like a lot of love from the baby. Even Cole shouted him out. He's getting a lot of support from the industry now. And I saw like a blog post about him, and it was showing the Quicksand video probably like in October-ish, I think. And I like seeing artists have fun. Like that's a big thing. So whether it's Designer, Lil Uzi, like those guys, like when I see them having fun making their music, like I kind of become a fan. I'm like, oh, that's, it's good vibes. So I like it. And he has support. He has a city support behind him, and that's what's up. So that's my pick.
I gave us bars leading to the slide. I'm hyped.
Right, he sold it. Man, sold that joint.
Since it's just the time with a kickstand, thinking of a plan to get quick bands, falling in deep with the quicksand. Flag on my ass, no quick brand. I was packing on the pound, got my weight up. Hot beef in the streets, had to stay up. Betty Crocker showed me how to bake a cake, bro. Doing that, put everything I love at stake, bro. Since it's just the time with a kickstand, thinking of a plan to get quick bands, falling in deep with the quicksand. Flag on my ass, no quick brand. I was packing on the pound, got my weight up. Hot beef in the streets, had to stay up. Betty Crocker showed me how to bake a cake, bro. Doing that, put everything I love at stake, bro. Back in the day, man, a nigga had ripped jeans. Couldn't afford a new pair, I had broke seams. Couldn't think about the money, I had broke dreams. Outfit was the match of a crack fiend. I was trying to be fly, couldn't take off. Clothes falling on my ass, lost weight, dog. No jacket in the winter, had to shake, dog. Then I said, fuck it, cause something gon' have to shake, dog. Then my nigga Bobby put me on a quick lick. Wasn't alive, but enough for a quick fix. Interception, I was stealing, caught me a big six. And it's no bitch and roll, bitch, it was brick dick. Never killed, I ain't gon' lie, I was tempted. He was the target, but he lucky that I missed it. I was always fucking up, was a misfit. My opportunity was knocking and I missed it. Young when I hopped off the stoop, 2 doors where I floor if I hop in the coupe. Too sore from a war where I couldn't lose. Got scars and bruises, man, I got the proof. Resemble you still, cause I got the juice. You think you Tupac, let all my ass loose. Step in on next with my Timberland boots. I'm planning, I'm stable, I'm growing in roots. Since it's just the time with a kickstand, thinking of a plan to get quick bands, falling in deep with the quicksand. Flag on my ass, no quick brand. I was packing on the pound, got my weight up. Hot beef in the streets, had to stay up. Betty Crocker showed me how to bake a cake, bro. Doing that, put everything I love at stake, bro. Since it's just the time with a kickstand, thinking of a plan to get quick bands, falling in deep with the quicksand. Flag on my ass, no quick brand. I was packing on the pound, got my weight up. Hot beef in the streets, had to stay up. Betty Crocker showed me how to bake a cake, bro. Doing that, put everything I love at stake, bro. I remember chilling at one of my little.
Chris Omar.
I'm like,
one of the best slides I've heard in months.
I was literally just about to say, like, in all honesty, no gas. That's one of the best slides someone's brought to the show. So thank you for
I was
putting me
not
on.
expecting that, but that's fire.
Wow!
I'll take it.
I pressed add to library so fast.
Whoa!
When I heard it, it was the same exact. I was like, damn. I got Roddy Rich like vibes of the East. That's what I got. East Coast Roddy Rich. Even though he's from Atlanta, kind of.
Yeah, he
Like,
has that sort of
immediately
bounce. He has this sort of like, you know, current trap bounce and like the melodic flow that you hear from everybody from Atlanta and whatnot, but and Roddy as well. But like at the same time, to me, his voice is more like, if he wanted to sing, I bet he could sing.
Yeah.
Like his voice was clearer to me, didn't have that many effects on it. He was like hitting the notes. And that's what for me really captured me, as well as the energy, the way he was attacking it sounded so powerful. So like it makes you listen. Shout out to Hagen and Ant producing that one. That was wow. He levitated.
Yeah. You sold that properly leading into that track.
Whoa!
I'm glad I didn't let down.
Wow. I cannot wait to clip this and tag Murray. Wow, Murray. Yeah. Oh, it was Ant Chamberlain. Excuse me. Hagen and Ant Chamberlain. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm about to run that as soon as we done recording. Bro.
He got like 4 singles too. Like he got 4 singles out now. I mean, that's one of them. But like he's dropping like hitters. I mean, that's the hit record. But you know,
that joint is crazy.
Yeah. How'd you say you found him again?
Just Twitter. Like it was like one of those random like hip hop blogs.
Love it.
I think it said like
blogs matter.
They do.
Blogs matter.
I think Cole commented on Instagram and it was just like, yo, like, you know, flame emojis or whatever. And I was like, you know, if that's Fayetteville, so it's cool. It's cool to me.
Cole don't be on IG, so Cole dropping flame emojis on you. You know.
Seriously.
But you saw a reaction. I'm like, oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. Wow.
Yeah.
Nick, you got to follow that up, bro. What you got for us?
See what he did there. See how he put me next.
I always let you go first. You know that.
But see, ever since he wanted to make this a competition, he throwing a little subtle stuff in there, thinking that is gonna get past me when I know I see it off top. What we finna do though? I'm gonna change up the vibe a little bit, ease y'all down. I gotta mellow it out just a little bit because Murray came with the heat. I found this artist, I was looking for slides. I spend a lot of time looking for slides, just trying to find good stuff. And I've come across her before and listened, but I didn't find the right song, I guess. And I liked what I heard initially. But this song captured my attention immediately, specifically because of her voice, the songwriting. The songwriting is really strong, as well as it's simple, but it's catchy and it's just great. Strong beat, strong production. Definitely something that's my vibe if you have listened, everybody. This is Love Me Back by Jeanette Claudette. This is produced by August Rigo.
Let's get into it.
They probably looking with laughter. Took a bet on you when I knew the answer. Got me looking like a fool for trying. Looking at you like a fool for lying. Makeup sex, it only drowns the silence. Then you told me that you wanna try this. Yeah. Love me back, love me back. Love me back, love me back. Love me back to you just like that. Love me back to you. All you gotta do sometimes is call me, baby. All I gotta know is that I cross your mind. It don't even matter if you mean it right now. You make me feel like you still wanna be mine. When you love me back, love me back. Love me back, love me back. Love me back to you just like that. Love me so close that I just can't think clear. Then you're telling me that you want me near. Yeah. Love me back, love me back, love me back, love me back, love me back to you just like that. Love me back to you. All you gotta do sometimes is call me, baby. All I gotta know is that I cross your mind. It don't even matter if you mean it right now. You make me feel.
Oh,
Okay.
I love that song. The pen.
Important. It's important.
Songwriting.
Wow. I love that one. And just hearing now, like, I love live production. I love live bass. I love that sort of sound. Like, you know, it's just such a great groove to it. So, and she levitated perfectly. Her delivery was on point. Super sexy delivery. Super drawing you in. And the song is talking about basically, you know, like, it's a very earnest sort of like, I know that you're in a different place and I'm starting to distance myself, but like, love me back to bring, like, you draw me in. Like, oh, she just delivered on that. So, wow. Jeanette Claudette. And that came out in 2018. Timeless stuff. Come on. Timeless. Come on.
He's yelling.
I'm fired up today.
Preach, brother.
It's
Preach.
2021. Good pens only. Bring your feather out.
Seriously.
Come on. What's the quill hitting on? Period.
Calligraphy.
What's the calligraphy talking about?
I am going to try and end it strong. We had two heaters come, you know. Sometimes I kind of put myself at a disadvantage having Nick go first, you know what I'm saying? But
There you go.
I had to pull the Peyton Manning audible. I had something intended, but I'm gonna go with a track that Nick should recognize pretty soon. This is Calabasas by Smooth. This joint is on my Spotify on repeat. I listen to this very, very often. This joint is hard. I'm not selling it as well as Chris sold his, but I'm just letting sometimes you gotta just let the music talk. So we're gonna get
this is the one with Blueface, right?
I'm sorry?
The one with Blueface, right?
Oh, what about
No,
Blueface?
different song.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Bugging. Moonwalking in Calabasas, I'm bugging.
Last night I dreamed about you. We were in Calabasas. The vibe was feeling brand new. So I just had to bag it. These days, can't wait to see the sun go. Since you left, I just miss your show.
Nah, let me say something about my guy Smooth real quick. I've known Smooth for a long time. He actually came to New York recently before I came over here, and we linked. And this man is an unbelievably talented songwriter. He's a great melody guy. He knows arrangements. He's someone I've known for a long time, and he's someone who I am very much so like very impressed with his growth and how he's come into the music industry. He's been some really big sessions. I can't speak on it because it's not mine to speak on. But when we linked, he played me some new stuff, and this man, y'all heard it here first, y'all. Smooth, look out for Smooth. That man is gonna be doing some serious stuff. He's already writing with some serious people. I can't speak on it, but
That's what's up.
he's names you know, and for his own stuff too. So that's shout out to my guy Smooth. Wow, I didn't know you were gonna play that. That's dope.
Yeah, that's my joint. That's my joint. It was really cool. I met him 2 years ago when you and I went to the
ASCAP show.
The ASCAP show, yeah. Met him and Jermaine. Jermaine actually helped write on Calabasas as well.
Shout out Jermaine. Jermaine
is incredible. If you're not hip to Jermaine, get hip to Jermaine as well. But yeah, Smooth is dope, and we kept in touch a little bit ever since we met, and I'm excited to hear this new stuff you're talking about, because Calabasas is the one. So if this man has the 2 and the 3 coming,
yes, he does. Oh yes,
then
yes, he got him.
Street's got to get ready. I couldn't find who produced that. I'll have to ask him.
I believe that's TK. TK. I believe
okay.
TK produced that one. Yeah.
Okay, it said TK wrote on it, but okay, word. That's dope.
Yeah, I believe TK produced on that.
So shout out to him. Shout out to Murray. Shout out to Jeanette, Claudette. And as y'all know, the Slide Deck playlist is available on all platforms. Hit the link tree in our IG and Twitter bio if you would like a slide added to the deck. Hit us on IG or Twitter at StayBusyPod, or email us at staybusypod@gmail.com. Also, the mailing list is in our link tree as well. Tap in, send us your email, get some exclusives. You know the vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have an incredible guest here, Chris Omar. So before we get into the board meeting conversation, we got to hit this man, warm him up with some auto reply. So, Nick, kick us off, brother.
All right, we'll start off with camera. Easy, man.
Lens.
Okay.
Film.
Development.
Okay. Record or record.
Don't forget to hit it.
Facts.
We're gonna get into angles.
Diversify them.
Okay. Vision.
Oh my God. Lucid Vision. Shout out to my boy Lucid.
Nice.
New York.
New York. Jay-Z.
Title.
Jay-Z.
Last but not least, Omar.
Palestinian.
There we go.
There we go.
Shout out to Motherland.
There we go. My guys warmed up, so we're gonna get into the board meeting now. I want to kick this off. You tweeted this, I think, in 2019, and like it really stuck with me. So I wanted to hear you speak on it more. You tweeted, "Don't call me a videographer," and your Twitter bio says that you are a filmmaker. So I before we kind of get into your origins, I want you to briefly speak on, what a videographer is to you and why you specifically are like, nah, you're not gonna call me that. I'm a filmmaker.
As I start sending invoices to companies, I've realized I don't care what they call me anymore.
Okay, pay me.
So that's, my boy, I got some good perspective of my boy, because he was asked the same question one time on a talk. And videographers tend to, like, you're just hired to be a videographer and just shoot what's in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A director, a producer, a filmmaker in general, usually you're gonna sculpt, your own vision and then create something out of that. A videographer is, just someone who's just gonna, whether it be your iPhone camera, be a regular camera, and you're just shooting like a corporate event. That's what a videographer is. So like, I'm taking on those gigs because they pay, and I don't care. But my thoughts have changed, and I understand that typically, if someone's asking for a videographer, it's not necessarily a corporate client or like something like that, I might know that maybe that's not my lane. Like maybe it's not the job for me, because they might not know exactly like the different roles and stuff. And I'm happy to educate, but like, typically terminology has a lot to do with the budget.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I look at things. So, I mean,
There you go. It's more like camera operator, if you will.
Camera operator is fine. Like I usually give my credit for that, like with the Rap Radar and Title gigs, because I'm not the one running the show on those, but
right.
So essentially, stop limiting Chris, because he don't just record. He has a vision. He comes in with the creativity. Nick and I saw it firsthand when we did the promo video. The energy he brings to a set. Yeah, you're not gonna call this man just a videographer. So get it right, get it tight. But of course, we got to learn like your path to now being called a filmmaker. Your origins. What made you first want to pick up the camera, and like what's the journey been?
Well, my parents like always had like a tape record, like a camcorder and stuff, like, you know, since they were married and stuff like that. And I was always playing around that when I was a little kid. And, you know, with Nerf guns, we'd make like, you know, fake short films and stuff like that. It was like a little kid. So that's like the earliest memories I have of that. I was always watching movies with my grandma and my dad and stuff like that. I was like going to the movie theaters was like a big like ritual for me. So when it came down to it, I think it was 5th grade for Christmas. My dad got me a mini DV camcorder, Sony Handycam.
Oh,
so I remember I was just shooting like, you know, making snowmans with my sister and like just, you know, having fun with it. And then it went on to 8th grade. We were told our electives for high school, and basic video production was the one. I was like, that sounds really cool. But I was playing paintball in middle school, and like a huge part of paintball is like the highlight reels they would make for the tournaments, and they were like sick, like dubstep edits, like, you know, cute girls, like sick like dives into the bunkers, and it was just fire. And like as a middle school kid from the suburbs, I loved it. And one of my friends, I'm calling him out, Zach, he had the camera gear and the editing gear, and he would hold out on giving me the footage to edit, like of myself playing, and I wanted to learn how to edit, and he wouldn't give it to me. So when the elective came along, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn myself. I don't need Zach. And that's how the journey started. I mean, I didn't stop there, and I told my teachers knew it like from the jump that I was going to be doing this as a living. And I had guidance counselors trying to put me in physics instead of the morning show, and I would go in there and argue and be like, I don't plan on being a physicist. I'm going to be doing this. And I had like a guidance counselor like, you can't just pay the rent, you know, just shooting music videos. And I'm kind of proved her wrong. So
wow.
Yeah.
So how? Tell us a little bit more about, like, you know, as you are now, as you work for yourself, you work freelance, independent, multi-hyphenate creator, content creator is what I'll say. How have you kind of sort of, you know, balance in this time, you know, trying to find work and make sure you're staying yourself afloat, but also growing your skills? What have you been working on yourself to make sure
I'm super blessed to have been working in 2020. Like, I mean, I know that was not a reality for a lot of my colleagues and stuff like that. And I mean, this was a crippling event for the film industry. I mean, I started off the year right with like the A Boogie gig, and that was like one of my biggest gigs, and I was super excited. And like I was in California in January, and then literally a month later, lockdown. And it was like, damn. And then, you know, I mean, just ride out the lockdown. Thank God, you know, for the pandemic assistance and stuff like that to just get through it. And like that was a good time, like actually for me to like hitting on the question of like developing skills. Like actually that was a good time for us to start developing screenwriting. And like me and like a lot of my friends started jumping on Zoom. We were just having like writer rooms like every Thursday night or Wednesday night or whenever it was. And it was actually really fun because it was around the same time that young Kanye got nominated for the Brooklyn College Film Festival. We just finished that up. So like everyone loved it, and it's like, oh, let's jump in and create a series out of it. I don't think I'm going to do the series, but it was a cool experience nonetheless when it came to writing. And then as the lockdown and we got into the, you know, the phases where we could start working again, I was blessed enough to like actually have work to do. And I mean, you know, just capitalized off of it and, you know, had a pretty good Q4. So yeah,
that's good,
man. It's just about staying really consistent.
Staying consistent and just being open to different things. Like you said, you know, okay, we can't be on set as much, so let's write. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Let's get in the shed and do that. I want to talk a little bit more about your music video catalog, because that's how I came to know you know who you were. You've done some work with some of our peoples like Jacques and some other artists like I've seen like 232. Tell us a little bit more about your music video catalog and where you see yourself kind of going with that.
So I mean, definitely one of my first music video collaborators who gave me like one of the first opportunities like as to like actually shoot their music video as like a serious person who's also taking their music seriously was 232. I call him Saya. That's like my brother. I've known him since I was a senior in high school. So like, I remember it was my first time actually staying overnight in Brooklyn. Like I was planning on going to Brooklyn College, and this is before, like I'm from, you know, upstate New York. So I never stayed in the city before, and it was Valentine's Day Eve, 2016, and I stayed overnight in a Bed-Stuy crib, and we shot a music video there, and like that was like my first experience, like, you know,
Wow.
shooting a video in the city, and like that was our first music video. We released it just for fun on Instagram to show like unreleased, but we never released it. And then we just stayed consistent after that and just continued to work. And I mean, we're making some really cool stuff now. Like, you know, it's starting to show. So it's really cool.
Typically, how are you involved with music projects? I know that change clients to clients. You know, some clients are probably like, hey, Chris, drive the vision. Hey, some are like, hey, Chris, just shoot it and edit it. Like, how do you sort of balance that role of when you bring, you know, that multi-hyphenate mindset to these different projects?
Yeah, when it comes to having like a client, like for example, like 232 or Jock or 94 Jew, like those guys typically will give me full creative control over a project and let me just run the show. Like, let me handle all production aspects. You know, typically I'll hire out someone else to shoot it. Maybe I'll hire out someone else to edit it, and I'll just run the show as a producer. Cause like, honestly, my end all goal is to be a film producer, run the show from a business aspect and a creative aspect, and just, you know, control the logistics. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of gigs where I take on who, like, you know, if the rate's right, I'll take a videographer gig. I'll take a DP gig. I actually got to take it was like my first gig where I actually like officially was a director of photography and only had to worry about that with Bayri the Siren with the Brat video I did with August.
Wow, I just started following her. Yeah.
Bree's awesome. And she hit me up about that, and that was a really fun shoot. And like she had the vision, she directed it. So like that was actually the first time where I worked with an artist who was actually taking the director credit, and I just, you know, was the DP. It was less stress, and I just did what I had to do, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So we spoke about the 8 Boogie, but you've also done, I believe you did the Ari Lennox car test as well.
Correct. Yeah, that was my first car test.
How did you secure these placements? Like, how does someone just do that? Like, Tidal just like, call Chris Omar. Like,
Tidal didn't call me. Luck, very, very lucky. My buddy, when I went to Brooklyn College, we would work on each other's thesis films. Like, that's how like the film department would work. We'd all work on each other's projects and stuff. So
that's great.
I was the assistant director on my buddy Jose's film, and his director of photography was my boy Josh Perez, Phase Funk on Twitter. And he was a 26-year-old freelance filmmaker. He said, like, you know, he was telling me about like his career, his trajectory, how like he was like a PA on one of like what's J. Cole, All I Want Is You with J. Cole and Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
He was a PA on that video back in the day. And I, like, you know, it's 2018. This is weeks before I went on the road with Kaz. And he's just giving me advice and kicking game. And I'm like, yo, like this dude, like I'm going to be 26 in like 5 years. Like I could be in his position. And I just stayed in contact with Josh, and like, that's like my brother now. Like he's like a mentor to me. He teaches me a lot of like most of my on-set experience actually. Yeah. And then, he eventually let me get my feet wet with a Live Nation gig that he got to shoot what's it called, Once to Watch.
Yep.
And we got to shoot with Destiny Rogers and like a couple other like, you know, cool and up and coming talents at the Live Nation building in New York City. And then eventually when like he knew I was a big Dreamville fan, Ari Lennox fan. He's like, hey, like, you want to come shoot this? You just have to drive to DC, like pick me up. They want to fly me out, but if you just want to drive down there, we can go. I was like, say less. And Ari was the coolest person ever. That was one of the coolest experiences ever. And then just went from there.
Amazing. Yeah. That just goes to show networking, connections, and hard work. Like you're gonna get rewarded. You keep putting the work in and improving your craft. And so, with craft improvement in mind, what is something you feel you can improve on in your work?
Actually, like sitting with a project and like fully like planning it out the way I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously the way like this, especially because we make short form content, like I'm not really, you know, locked into the feature space because that's months at a time. I like personally music videos where, you know, you have a turnaround of like a month at most, and like, you know, like short, like little ads and stuff where it's like quick turnarounds. But I would really like to like lock in and maybe, you know, work on a really cool short film or like a TV series eventually. So like I have some ideas down the pipeline I'd like to do. And I just feel like even documentaries as well, that's a big thing with me. So it's like actually giving it the full treatment that you're supposed to. That's what I would like.
How would you define your style so far? Because I'm sure, it's always still developing as like to where an artist has their sound, a visual creative has their style, their look. So how would you, what are some words that you would use to describe the Chris Omar, so the CO visuals, um, sort of look or style? And if you're still developing that, who are you drawing from?
Definitely still developing it. I'm a big guy when it comes to like conceptually talking on politics and social issues and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
one of my favorite directors, he is my favorite director, Jordan Peele.
yeah.
Then we got Barry Jenkins with like Moonlight, and I always draw a blank who's my favorite director or something like that. But like, like Jordan Peele is one of my favorite directors, and like he's always like with Get Out, he touched on the social political issues like perfectly. And with Young Kanye, if you watch Young Kanye, you'll see like there's a lot of you'll see there's definitely some similarities between Get Out and that.
100%.
I don't know if it was executed as well, but like in terms of like just having like like the whole white privilege tropes and stuff like that, and that those concepts, I like to dive in and make people think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. What's your advice to artists who are trying to make striking visual content on a budget? There's this conversation about artists renting out Airbnbs, and it's obvious that they're recording their videos in Airbnbs, and people say they should stop doing that, but like they might not have the money to, like do something bigger and better and really execute the vision that they want. So what's your advice to someone to really make the most out of a visual, even if their budget may not be, where they want it to be?
I think Airbnbs is nothing wrong with that. Like I personally, if I have a client says I'm going to rent out a really cool like loft or like like a crib in Beverly Hills or something, I'm like that's perfect. That brings the production value up 1,000,000 points. Now, working around the angles of actually being able to shoot in there and not getting in trouble with the host is another production issue that usually I'll bring up. But what was the other part of the question? I'm sorry. Like like budget wise, like
like how to
I mean, like a lot of times, like it's lighting and special equipment, whether it be a dolly or something like that. You know what I mean? Like lighting typically, and it's actually paying for a crew. Like like I can't do everything. Like I mean, I can do everything if you want, but I mean, jack of all trades or a master of none. And like that's not the way. Like when I fully give like the due process of a project, like I don't want to do everything because it's just I can't focus on a million things at once.
Exactly.
So a big thing like being able to secure in a budget where I can pay like a day rate for like some like assistant camera or director of photography or even an assistant director, like that is a make or break. Like having a crew is the most important thing to me because like you have your guys that specialize in certain things, like what I mean. Like I know guys that will be able to tell me all these different things about lighting and different lenses and stuff more than I know. And I mean, I'm pretty well versed in that stuff. So it's good to have that. And I learned from them and they learned from me. And it's just a great relationship. So the one thing for an artist, if a filmmaker, if you're reaching out to a filmmaker about a project brief and like they're asking like if you have a budget for crew, that's definitely something you want to invest in for sure.
Wow. What's the most essential crew to you? If you're running a project for like an independent artist, they want to do a music video, what are the things that you need? Because I know a lot of directors, a lot of people who don't like to edit their own stuff, even if they can't. They don't like to edit their stuff. It's kind of like in a way, it's almost like I would liken it to mixing. People who are mixing the record shouldn't master it, and kind of vice versa. It should kind of, you're too close to it, so other hands should take it and be able to move it around. Who are the essential crew people that you kind of bring in on every project?
100% on the editor. Like it really depends. Like if someone wants those trippy effects, I'm sorry, like I'm not doing that. Like, I don't want to sit there. No, like I don't even like them, honestly. So that's whatever.
Talk about it.
Essential crew is like, I mean, typically like I'll be a producer director on a gig. So like I'll play those two roles and that's fine. And editor too, typically. A director of photography, which is the cameraman. He's usually the one that's calling the shots on like, he'll be the one operating. Typically he'll tell the gaffer. So a gaffer is another role. They're the ones that'll basically sculpt the light and, work with the DP to light a scene. And then you have grips who move the stands around in the lights and rig things up, and they're super important. If you have the opportunity to have an assistant director is super important. They'll be the ones they'll be on your ass about time, making sure that lunch is on the way, the logistics. Like they're the ones that they're going to babysit the set and make sure that everyone's good because
Production
That
management.
lunch. Need
Yeah.
that lunch.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, like typically a producer AD will fill that role. So that's those are the bare bones. I mean, there's so many different roles. I mean, if sound is needed, you get a sound mixer, of course, a location sound mixer. I mean,
all I hear is the price going up and up and up and up.
Yeah. Especially when you throw the sound guy in, that's when it's like,
no. And I think what the reason why I bring this up is because as an artist myself, and I know a lot of other artists not necessarily struggle with visuals or videos. And I think that oftentimes, and maybe this is the thing with just the world in general, is that money is a barrier to entry and budget is a barrier to entry. And so I think that you hear a lot of these people, you will listen to videos or whatever, and they're like, I just we shot this on an iPhone, or we shot this on just one little Canon Rebel and we got it going, whatever. And the videos are high quality oftentimes, and you think about it, is that a personnel thing or a budget? And you see the videos and the content that of the people that are up and coming, or you want to create at the same level with, because you may be at the same talent level with, but they either have independent backers or whatever. And these videos are budgeted from between 5,000 to 10,000 per video, And so not every person just has 5,000 to throw out one video or anything in the sliding scale. And so that's why I just wanted to, sort of give for our audience if we have any artists in the audience that may be, struggling with videos and trying to get their visuals tight because they know they got good content and they just want to, because visuals really, to me, is like, if people don't believe it when they hear it, a lot of times you can make them believe it when they see it. Think about these. Just real quick aside, Clive Davis was talking about in his documentary, The Soundtrack of Our Lives. If you have not seen that documentary, everyone go watch it. You're a doc guy, music doc guy. I know. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. Clive Davis, and he talks about when he was getting with Alicia Keys and they had Fallen, and the song, they knew it was a great song. It was her, come out song, and it didn't do the numbers that they expected it to do with just the music video and the single itself and the sales. And so what he did is he got on the phone with Oprah, or wrote a letter to Oprah and said, "Hey, can you please put Alicia on the show, because I know if people see it, they'll believe it." That was his thought process. And then after that performance, boom, she took off. And so I know for myself, a lot of artists do well with live performance stuff. And, that's another budget to getting the sound right and getting all these sort of things to have a live performance thing, visual, to be able to showcase that you are, you can do what you say you can do. And so I think it's a consistent battle for a lot of artists trying to find that happy medium, because as a visual creative yourself, you deserve to get paid what you deserve to get paid. But at the same time, it's like, how do artists navigate that space? And I think it's, there's no real answer to that necessarily. It's case by case, person to person. So I just, wanted to bring that up. That's a challenge for a lot of artists. And when we come to visuals, and a lot of people, I have a TV background, I have a production background, so I know what I really need. I can navigate when people are saying, "Oh, let's get, 3 PAs." We don't need that. I know when people, are BSing me, and I know what's needed. But I think that's not often the case with a lot of artists. And I think a lot of artists, kind of end up putting out subpar visuals because they just don't have the money. Yeah. It's not because the idea wasn't there. It's just like they couldn't rent the car. They couldn't rent the warehouse or what it is. So, just interesting.
There's a couple of things with that. It doesn't help that we live in a time where it's so attention deficit, in terms of having to release something every week to stay relevant. And people expect with the baby dropping a video every week, dude, you know what I mean? It sets this expectation for artists. And my advice to that is to prioritize based on what you think your banger is going to be. If they're your hit record, put the most money into that. And you could still make content without going all out, and you just don't be too ambitious. Be realistic with your budget, and it can still go a long way. What's a good example? It's not a good idea to go shoot in the middle of a highway to catch a skyline of your city when you don't have the proper production, or a lockdown of the highway, because someone's going to get killed. You know what I mean? And people have to be realistic in terms of what you're able to do with your budget, and just kill it based on that. You know what I mean? And Did I answer the question?
Yeah, no. I mean, I was more so commenting. More so commenting and just sharing as an artist the things that we go through so far as when it comes to like, because marketing and branding and packaging and all that stuff visually, that's where rubber meets the road. You can create fire in the studio all day. What's the video hitting on? What's the packaging hitting on? What's the the visual branding hitting on? How do I buy into you as an as a consumer, as a music lover? And so these are the things that we deal with day in, day out. It's like, we need visuals, we need videos, but who are we gonna go to? How much it's gonna cost? And that's the sort of like real business stuff that comes out, I think, in a lot of artists. And like, if you're not familiar with that, it smacks you in the face immediately. Because you want to rent a car, but then you realize it's $300 an hour, and then you want to rent this.
You need car insurance and stuff,
right? And you realize all these other things that is just you're not aware of. And I'm trying to see if there's a way that we can sort of, because I feel like right now, like I said kind of earlier, it's deeply connected to, there's a correlation between well-budgeted projects and great content, or like at least executing the ideas that you have in your mind. And I'm finding is like, is there a more streamlined way to sort of kind of split the difference, and like, what are the resources available to independent artists to be able to get it done? So, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people neglect marketing.
Yeah.
Like, they make the video, they make a sick video, they put $5K into the video, they don't have any marketing budget. No one's going to see it. And then you're going to be upset because you have 64 views on the $5,000 music video you just paid for. And like, what I learned in school, and I try to take this into account when I, work with my clients. Because like one of my professors was like Woody Allen's assistant director. Wow. Like he was an AD, like in the DGA for like 40 years, like worked with Robert De Niro and everyone. Like he has some cool stories. And he said that the studios, they budget 20% of the production budget for marketing. So if it's $100 million film, 20 million of that is going to go into in marketing. So if you spend $1,000 on a video, $200 goes on Google Ads.
Has to.
Yeah, like Google Ads is clutch. I learned that this year. That's it's
super clutch.
It's real. Like, I mean, you're getting real views, you're getting real comments, and like, you're paying for it. And it's like not necessarily organic, but you're still getting it in front of people. That's what the labor. That's what the majors do.
That's all that matters.
When you're paying 4 bands to WorldStar to put your video on there, they're going to be using Google Ads to get that pushed out on YouTube. Like, that's not authentic views. You know what I mean? Like, so that's my advice.
What's really authentic these days anyway?
Nothing.
Like, you authentically come across an ad all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about that.
Like, so I think that's a great thing. Armon, you got something to wrap it up?
Yeah, Chris, there's a lot of conversation these days about music videos and how people aren't necessarily being artistic with them. And I mean, I think that's a very general statement that's kind of wrong. I mean, I think Big Sean constantly puts out really, really strong videos. The Dreamville artists constantly put out really strong videos. There's a lot of examples. Drake obviously has really, really good videos. For you, what do you feel about the state of music videos these days? And like, what do you think is lacking?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's lacking is budget, because the labels are trying to, they want to push out more and more videos every week rather than doing like, one for every single they drop every couple months. Now artists have to drop singles all the time. And those budgets obviously get watered down, and that's where we're at right now. I mean, like, I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure like the budgets back in the day were like $50K for a regular music video. And now you're lucky if you get $5K from a label. Mm-hmm. And even if they answer you after that, I've had plenty of times where a label ghosted me on like dream gigs. So like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot of oversaturation. There's a lot of, it's a less budget, more projects going on. And that's what it is. It's the market share thing.
Yeah. I
think music videos are great. I love what everything's being put out by like the major guys and stuff like that, and even the younger guys. So
yeah, no, there was a much bigger emphasis. I think about it all the time. Like, we used to sit home, like go home, rush home to watch 106 & Park, like the top 10. Like, we were actually invested in videos, and now it's like artists would just drop them kind of just as like additional promo, post-release promo. And like a lot of the time we'll see the same stuff. People just standing in front of cars, or women, or money. And it's like, so it's really important. And I love when I see someone put genuine effort into creativity, like the Big Sean Play No Games video, where like he like remade Martin. Like that was so good to me. And it's like, I love seeing stuff like that. I love seeing people think outside the box. We got to ask, actually, to really wrap up, what's the craziest thing that you've seen or been a part of, or that's happened while you were on a set?
Craziest.
And you don't have to use names. You can say.
I'm not saying name. I mean, one of the artists I worked with in a different country I just went to a different country, a trip in I went to Canada, and
I think I know who this is.
No, I went to Canada and I was just like cold DMing everyone on Instagram because I just wanted to work like and get my portfolio out there and like, you know, maybe build a network out there because I just thought it was cool. And like, you know, I like the music out there because it's like that trap soul R&B, like, you know, OVO sound that I really like. And I reached out to one guy, and this guy actually had a pretty decent following, and all of his music videos are doing like 500,000 views on YouTube. And I'm like, hit him up, and he answered me. And I was only charging like 300 Canadian at the time. 400 Canadian at the time was like 300 US. And I was broke. Like I had no money on this vacation with all my friends. And me and like two of my friends came with me, went to Rexdale, which is where Nav is from. And that's like the projects of Toronto. Oh. We could have got robbed. Like we were insane for doing that, just not knowing where we were at and like going there. And they could have easily ran us up. They were the coolest dudes ever. Shot a really cool video with them. Turns out the artist is on the run for first-degree murder right now. Still hasn't been caught. So that was pretty wild. Like, yeah. And like, I mean, like, so some like hip hop blog, like YouTube channel made like a whole, like about like the whole situation and linked my music video, which was dropped on my channel. So now the video has like 200K views and like, you know, I'm getting a lot of comments on my YouTube channel and stuff, which is fun.
Yo, that's nuts.
So, I mean, like, yeah, like it was wild. I mean, like I've put myself in some crazy situations in the past and I mean, I'm still here to tell it, which is cool. And I don't regret it.
Thank God.
Get the shot.
Yeah, get the shot. I mean, they were mad cool about it. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, you know, there's plenty of. I have so many stories, but like,
wow.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. the life and times of a filmmaker, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, man, thank you so much for your insight, for sharing your expertise. Y'all make sure y'all stay tapped into this man. By the end of 2021, Lord knows who he's going to be shooting for.
Really,
his credit list is gonna expand, and I'm just honored to know you and have worked with you, my man.
Likewise, guys. Thank you.
Bulletin board, we ain't got nothing, but you know, COVID still exists, so we hope y'all inside distancing.
Kicked my ass like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I caught it. It beat my ass. Like it was not fun. I still have this cough. I've been muting my mic this whole time, and I have to cough. Like it's not fun. It's not. Yeah.
No.
Take it seriously, guys. Seriously.
That's
Get
crazy.
tested after you gathering stuff.
I saw this tweet. It was like speaking to the testing and gathering. It was like an excuse. An excuse.
I saw that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Getting a COVID negative test as like your way to go outside and go to a party is like using a pregnancy test as contraception.
Facts. It's facts. Like I'm a stickler on set. You ask anyone I work with, you're not wearing a mask on set, I'm gonna tell you, yo, put on your mask. Like this is not a joke. You know what I mean? I don't want to take this home. And I don't know if I did or whatever, but yeah, it's serious and people need to start taking it really seriously because we're having like a 9/11 every day now. And I mean, no one cares. We saw these parties, like, you know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's gonna get better soon. So
well, we're glad you're still kicking, still alive.
Thank you.
Joined us, ladies and gentlemen. This is another beautiful, fun episode of Stay Busy. As you know, it's the boy Armon here with the guy Nick Early. We brought in the legend, the man, the young legend, young Kanye, director, filmmaker, Chris Omar. We'll see y'all next week. Stay safe, stay humble, stay busy. Wear your mask, please, and let's get into this.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.
Mondays 9 a.m. Party with the gang. Every week, tell a friend. Busy over everything. Busy boys, gotta call now. Ain't you heard? Got the vibes. They put what you want. Got the slides. I'm the size. When in doubt, no, we hold it down.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy. Taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.